Most people in the UK work hard for decades, yet never build real wealth. They get promoted. They save into a workplace pension. They do everything they're told. And after 40 years, they reach retirement with a pot that barely covers 20 years of living. It's not because they didn't earn enough. It's because the structure they earned in was never designed to build wealth for them. The difference isn't luck, it's a system. Part 1. The wealth gap. The truth is, employment and business ownership are two completely different wealth engines, and the numbers prove it. According to the ONS Wealth and Assets Survey, the median net household wealth of someone who is self-employed is significantly higher than someone who is an employee, and the gap widens dramatically at the top end. The top 10% of business-owning households hold a disproportionate share of total UK wealth. Why? 3 reasons. 1. Employees trade time for money in a linear way. You work 1 hour, you get paid for 1 hour. That's the deal. 2. Employees are taxed at source before the money ever reaches their hands. PAYE, national insurance, student loan deductions, all removed before you see a single pound. 3. Employees have almost no control over their biggest wealth-building lever, their pension. Someone else chooses the provider, the fund, the contribution level, and how long you have to wait to access it. On the other hand, a business owner controls all 3. They can earn disproportionately to their time because they own the output, not the hours. They are taxed after expenses, not before. And they control their own investment vehicles, from SIPPs to holding companies to the ultimate wealth event, selling the business itself. The problem is, nobody sits you down at 21 and shows you this comparison. You're funneled into university, then into a graduate scheme, then into a 40-year employment track without ever seeing the alternative laid out in numbers. This video is that comparison. By the end, you'll know exactly which path the system rewards and which it quietly taxes. Part 2. The tax reality. Let's walk through a real example. Take £60,000 of gross income, earned either as a salary or as company revenue. This is roughly the UK median for a mid-career professional. As an employee on £60,000, your employer pays you your gross salary. Before it reaches your bank account, HMRC deducts income tax, 20% on everything between the personal allowance of £12,570 and £50,270, and 40% on the remaining £9,730. That's roughly £11,432 in income tax. On top of that, national insurance, employee contributions at 8% between the primary threshold and upper earnings limit, then 2% above. That's around £4,700 more. If you have a Plan 2 student loan, another £2,300 or so. Your take-home from £60,000 lands somewhere around £41,500. You keep about 69%. Now the same £60,000 earned through a limited company. The company pays corporation tax at 19 to 25%, depending on profit level. Let's say 19% on smaller profits. That's £11,400. The remaining £48,600 can be taken as a combination of a small salary, using your personal allowance, and dividends. Dividends are taxed at lower rates than income, 8.75% at the basic rate, 33.75% at the higher rate. The overall effective tax rate is significantly lower than PAYE. And critically, you can control the timing. You can leave money in the company during high-earning years and draw it down during lower-earning years, something no employee can do. This creates a compounding tax advantage that over 20 years can amount to hundreds of thousands of pounds. Not because you worked harder, because the structure you operated in was different.
Part 3. The pension trap. But the tax gap is only half the story. The bigger wealth difference comes from what happens at the end. An employee builds their retirement through a workplace pension. Your employer contributes typically 3 to 8%, and you contribute 5% or more. The money goes into a default fund chosen by the pension provider. The fees are whatever they are. You can't access it until you're 57, rising to 58. When you finally retire, you draw it down gradually and hope it lasts. The truth is, for most employees, it doesn't. The average UK pension pot at retirement is around £60,000 to £70,000. That's not a wealth number, that's a survival number. Now compare this to a business owner. They can use a SIPP, a self-invested personal pension, choosing their own investments, controlling their own fees, and receiving the same tax relief on contributions. But the real difference is the exit event. A business owner who builds a company worth, say, £500,000 can sell it. Under business asset disposal relief, formerly entrepreneurs relief, the first £1 million of capital gain is taxed at just 10%. That's £50,000 in tax on a £500,000 exit. The remaining £450,000 is theirs, tax-free to invest, spend, or retire on. An employee never gets this moment. There is no exit. There is only the next paycheck. The earlier you start building an asset that can be sold, the more your wealth benefits from compounding. Not just compound interest on money, but compound value on what you own. This creates a snowball effect that grows stronger over time. Starting early is not optional, it's essential. Part 4. The risk reality. Now, none of this means you should walk into your manager's office tomorrow and quit, because the risk side of this equation is real, and ignoring it would be dishonest. UK business failure rates are significant. Roughly 20% of new businesses don't survive their first year. By year 5, that number is closer to 60%. When your business fails, you don't get redundancy pay. You don't get a notice period. You don't get sick pay, annual leave, or maternity pay unless you've structured those benefits for yourself. Your income can go from comfortable to zero in a single month. Employment, for all its wealth-building limitations, provides something business ownership doesn't. A floor. You know what's coming in. You can plan around it. You can get a mortgage, support a family, and sleep at night knowing your income isn't dependent on whether clients pay their invoices on time. Employment is genuine wealth protection for most people. And if you have dependents, a mortgage, or limited savings, the smartest financial decision may be to stay employed and build your business on the side. There is no shame in that. The goal is wealth, not a job title. The key is to use employment as a launchpad, not a destination. Let it fund your transition rather than trapping you in a structure that limits your upside. Part 5. The hybrid path. This is where the system comes together. You don't need to leap from employee to business owner overnight. The practical UK roadmap works in 4 stages. Stage 1. Start a side hustle while employed. Registered as a sole trader with HMRC, you declare income through self-assessment, keeping your day job for stability. At this stage, the goal isn't to replace your salary. It's to prove someone will pay you for something outside your employment. £500 a month is a win. It proves the concept works. Stage 2. Once your side income consistently hits £1,000 to £1,500 a month, incorporate a limited company. This separates your personal
and business finances, opens up the tax advantages we covered in Part 2 and forces you to treat this like a real business, even if you're still employed full-time. Stage 3, the transition. When your business income matches 70 to 80% of your employment income, you have a decision to make. Reduce your employed hours, if possible, or make the jump. You'll take a short-term pay cut, but the ceiling is now entirely yours. Stage 4, full business ownership. At this stage, your focus shifts from survival to optimization. Maximize pension contributions through a SIPP. Build retained profits in the company. Plan for an eventual exit, whether that's selling the business, passing it on, or building it into an income-generating asset that runs without you. At every stage, be aware of IR 35. If you leave employment and provide services back to a single client through your limited company, HMRC may treat you as a disguised employee, denying you the tax advantages we've discussed. The rule is simple: multiple clients, genuine business structure, control over how and when you work.
Wealth building is simple, but it requires patience and long-term thinking to truly work.
The system isn't complicated. The gap between employment and business ownership is real, measurable, and backed by decades of UK data. The question isn't which path builds more wealth. The numbers already answer that. The question is whether you're willing to trade short-term security for long-term upside while mitigating the risks along the way. The difference isn't luck, it's a system. And once you understand it, everything changes. If you're serious about growing your wealth, watch the next video on your screen, where I break down exactly where to invest your first money, step by step.